I'm Julie Kay, helping you find your way through grief and loss. And today I'm going to just share some of what happened this week in my life that really, I think, as I'm reflecting, shows the pain and the purpose. The purpose and the pain, sorry. So obviously, there's pain and grief and loss, live loss, bereavement, whatever it is, and all kinds of losses are out there that affect us more than we realize. So my story is that a little bit less than a year ago, but quite a while ago, when I connected with Dr. Eddie Williams from PHSC here in Newport Richey, Florida, he, as he got to know me as a speaker and my story about the loss of our daughter, etc., he invited me to be a part of this conference that took place yesterday. So it was way ahead of time, and I really didn't know what to expect at all. But I really, along with being an influence in the school system and high schools, as I've been in a small scale and hope to be on a bigger scale, I really hope to bring the message of awareness. Excuse me. I also want to bring the awareness with the goal of prevention of substance use and abuse. Substance dependency is what I'm calling it. That whole thing, I'm trying to reduce and bring prevention education, not only in the school system, but also in colleges. So I felt like this could be a real opportunity, and it definitely was. So my whole focus going into this was to get this presentation together that I had never done. In January of this year, 2024, I had the privilege of presenting for half an hour my story and some reasons why fentanyl is so dangerous and some of the awareness, and a little bit on how to help people grieving with the social workers of Pasco County. And it was an awesome privilege, and I worked very hard on that presentation. This one was for an hour, or allowed for an hour, for a breakout session at this health and wellness conference that he put on at, again, PHSC. So my whole focus was not really understanding the whole conference, was just about me getting this presentation together. So what I decided to call it was grief and loss in relation to mental health and substance dependency is what I ended up calling it. So that was a whole new thing because I wanted to research and find other people and other articles and whether they agreed that there was any relationship or strong relationship, or what level of relationship they thought there was between grief and loss and substance dependency. So that's basically where I went, because it's very well known that mental health and substance dependency are very interrelated. And it's not hard to prove that part of mental health has to do with the grief and losses that people have experienced. And that can play into anxiety, depression, fear, and PTSD, etc. So I was really trying to find more proof of the grief and loss and how it affects substance dependency and how a substance dependency affects grief and loss. And there definitely is a strong relationship. So I'm not going to go into all of that right this second, although maybe I will if you all want to hear that. I could do videos on that. But so bottom line, I found a lot of, not a lot, but like about 6 or 7 articles that I referred to, and a lot of information. And I began to collect all this, and I wanted to share a lot of it. So I also have never, here's another fact of the story, I've never done a PowerPoint presentation or a slideshow or what have you. So I was a little intimidated with that. And in the past, I used to be very inept and very unconfident about my ability to work on computers and technology and things of that nature. And if I had any kind of hang up, I would get very, very overwhelmed and very, very upset and cry and break down even. And I really overcame that through doing an online summit that some of y'all know I did back in 2020 about grief and loss and trauma. So that helped me overcome so many things. It was such a blessing. But here I was faced with another thing that I felt a little intimidated and scared of. And then everything got delayed because of some other good things that happened. And then I also didn't feel good going into Tuesday to Wednesday. And the conference was yesterday and Thursday. So that didn't help. So I was delayed in getting this presentation together. And I've never been a person who was good at last minute stuff. Oh, I'll do my paper last minute and I'll be fine. I'm not like that kind of a person. I don't like that kind of stress. It doesn't necessarily help me to function better. So here I went into Wednesday with not knowing exactly how to do a slideshow and not having even started it, with lots of material that I could not memorize. And I don't like having my face in a notebook or cards to read a presentation. I like to flow and be confident and interact with the audience and so forth. So if you don't know this already, just so you know, before I forget, I ended up doing the whole presentation live. I knew I may not have space and it wouldn't have been wise to have done a whole hour presentation on my phone. So I decided to do it live and was able to do that. So if you want to watch it, it's on my personal page, Julie Kettles, on a live that I just did from yesterday. So it's on there for at least 30 days. I don't know if I can change the settings on that. So with that, I was just getting ready, like later in the day Wednesday than I even should have been, getting ready to go on Google Slides and see if I understood it, trying to get some help, knowing I could go to the library. And long story short, all of a sudden, I had somebody hack my computer. What was that, a month and a half ago, and it was terrible. And I had to shut all my accounts down. Wells Fargo had to shut all my accounts down, and all new cards and everything else, and passwords and all that. So that was not fun, and I learned a lot from that. But I never did what they said about fixing the computer. So I think I may still have somebody trying to be able to get into my computer. And I saw the cursor moving around. So without going into that detail, I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And I wasted at least another hour at that point. And I was just like, I was already questioning, should I even do this? Lord, should I do this? Is this your will? Even though I was invited to do this and I have spent all this work on this, should I even do this presentation? I have a reason to, cancel it because I don't feel well. Not that I want to, because I'm a person that doesn't quit or cancel things easily. But I was praying about it, and then that happened, and I was just overwhelmed. But I had my, closest friend and like spiritual mom praying for me. And so long story short, I called this one young lady that was willing to help me, but she didn't understand what was going on, because now after that hacking or whatever, I couldn't even see my presentation on my computer, and I needed to be able to work on it, do the slideshow, and then be able to download it and put it on a USB and bring it to this thing in hopes that everything worked out okay. So I couldn't even find the presentation again. I could on my phone, but not on my thing. Well, it ended up being that I had, signed in and made the presentation on one of my emails, my emails, and wasn't logged in. So when I went to the library, they explained this. I found it, yay. And then she kind of helped me learn how to do Google Slides, which is not hard, but kind of maneuver around that. And I began to do it. And then they closed. I had to come home and hope that I'd be able to do it on my computer. I was able to. I was just going as fast as I could. This computer that I have here, the mouse is really weird. I can't explain it, but it was very frustrating. That made it take longer, but I got through it. It was 11:30 p.m. Late at night, and I was supposed to get up early, supposed to get to bed early. Had been feeling better at that point, but here I was, not just like, this is crazy, but here I go. If nothing else, I have a slideshow now with lots of quotes on it. So, that whole thing, I want to say, is there was a keynote speaker that was part of making the whole day an awesome day yesterday. The conference was amazing, and Dr. Williams invited me to be on the advisory board next year, which was such an honor. And I really felt in my element being there. I was like, I got to keep going to conferences, mental health conferences, colleges, I love this. This is me. And the fact that it turned out good, not a ton of people came to the conference, but so I was, a little concerned if I'd even have anybody show up for my breakout because there was three other ones at the same time and at 10 o'clock in the morning, and ended up I had 6 or 7 people. They were all interactive. They told me thank you. It was helpful. The slides were great. It was just to me very rewarding and very fulfilling and I was so happy because I went into it with like hardly any expectations, which is good sometimes. But just turned out the whole day was so blessed. So this keynote speaker, um, one of the things he said so many good things. His name is Javon Glasgow, if I'm pronouncing it right. And he came over and met me at my table and took my card and said he loved my name, Julie K, Helping Find Your Way. And but I didn't even know he was the keynote speaker. And he said so many good things. Oh my goodness, it was one of the best presentations I've ever heard, and very much touched me and affected me for the good. So I took notes. I audio recorded it. I will be rehearsing that. But this is the good part about getting out and getting into church services, hearing a speaker, hearing a conference. Get out. I encourage y'all to get out, especially if you're totally isolating, because you don't know what it could do for you to just fill you up, encourage you, and help you. And stopping a spam caller here. But two things he said that really helped me that relate to the story I just tell you. The one is, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. I really think that applied to me. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So doing the whole presentation, I put a lot of work and time into it, but that wasn't totally hard, although putting it together was somewhat challenging. It was new to me. Adding in some information that I had shared with the social workers and, so forth. But that day was challenging to me. All of that, I was wondering if I should even do it and go to it. And so if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Going through that much stress and upsetness and things not going right, a lot of times we feel like this can't be God, this can't be, or I just can't do this, it's too much. And we quit. Many times we need to press through until we really get a complete, maybe shut door, which sometimes is God or just needs to happen. But we really need to press through so many times, because I agree with this. If it doesn't challenge you, if you're not challenged in anything you do, it doesn't change you for the good. So I feel changed. I feel transformed by overcoming and doing it. And yes, seeking God, asking for prayer, getting some help, and yet doing it and believing I could do it and pressing through. Now I know I can do a PowerPoint. I know how to do Google Slides, and it opens me up to be able to do this in the future. I will be doing that with Fentanyl Fathers when I share in the assemblies in the schools. And so it was a big overcoming hurdle for me, a big victory for me. And the day was amazing. It was amazing, the whole and the connections I made, and just I have so many things I could say, and too long for here. And then another thing he said was every no, and this is something I'm going to adopt into my mentality. Every no is an opportunity to grow. So every no, let's say it was a no that I shouldn't have gone, or I have had other no's. I'm sure you've had no's. Share with me in the chat some things that were roadblocks to you, that you weren't happy, that you couldn't go to or do, and you didn't understand, but maybe now you do understand. Maybe you still don't, but you trust God. But if you do see why, that's even cooler, because we don't always know why, and maybe for a long time we won't know why that wasn't meant to be, or why that door shut. But every no can be an opportunity to grow. So every no can be an opportunity to grow. And I don't like no's on something that I really desire or believe is good or right. But it's an opportunity to grow. So, and at the same time, every challenge doesn't mean it's a no, right? If we push through it and we do it, we'll be changed for the good. It's worth it. So those kind of go hand in hand, only they're opposites. But that's what I wanted to share today. More to come with that. So please go on and watch a little of my live if you want to. Let me know. Give me feedback. I'd love feedback, because I share something I believe strongly, that helping people to express and support and normalize grief and loss in society would actually help us be unified and also help us to reduce substance dependency and people going to substances. That's what I believe. So let me know if you believe that too. So, gonna get off, and God bless you. See you next week. Bye bye.